Welcome to the first episode of a brand new podcast, Evangelising Eastern Orthodoxy, where we will seek to understand Eastern Orthodox doctrine and worldview in order to challenge our Orthodox friends and neighbours with the gospel. My name is John Diakos, and over the upcoming weeks we'll be unpacking Orthodox doctrine and the worldview it creates. We'll answer questions like, what does Orthodoxy believe and how did it get there? What do they think of God and how we relate to Him? The way of salvation, the role of sin, the place of Jesus, and where is authoritative truth to be found? But we won't be looking at orthodoxy out of academic interest or for the purposes of critique, but so we can understand our Orthodox neighbours in order that we can clearly communicate the gospel to them, and so we can address their questions and anticipate their misunderstandings, and to recognise our similarities, so we can acknowledge that we too have the same questions like, what does God think of me now? Can I know that I'm acceptable to God? Does He hear my prayers? Where is the good life to be found? Questions that lead us to the clear answers in the gospel. We'll also be considering the growing issue of those who convert to orthodoxy, and we'll think through what it is that motivates them, how we can be proactive by demonstrating our confidence in God's word, and how the same gospel can be applied to converts as to cradle Orthodox. To help us, I'll be chatting with pastors, theologians, and commentators from across the world, people who have thought through and can clearly explain Orthodox doctrine as well as their evangelistic approaches. And we'll be hearing the stories of some of the many who grew up Orthodox, how God and His grace transformed them into His people, the challenges they faced, but the great joy they now have in serving their God. That too is my story. I grew up in a family where our identity revolved around being both Greek and Orthodox, the two being inseparable from one another. Our family's year revolved around Easter and Saints' Days and Christmas and regular attendance at church, so I knew all about God. Yet the picture of God presented to me was always one who disapproved of things I did. I did not know how to please or relate to this God at all. He was always distant, unapproachable, unknowable. I searched in many directions for answers. I devoted myself to church and ritual. I listened attentively to the liturgy. I kissed the icons, lit candles, and took communion. I always felt clean leaving church, as if I had done my duty and that God was happy with me. But that feeling never lasted. I devoted myself to doing good and developed a sensitive conscience that detected my inevitable failures. I would then pray with face to the ground, arms outstretched, sometimes with tears, begging for forgiveness until I believed I received it when I felt at peace. But I was never certain I was good enough or that the forgiveness was complete. I looked for God in nature, in sounds, in the rain, all so I could receive some confirmation that God was there and that He approved of me. Yet none of this left me with any certainty of knowing God, of having the truth, of feeling forgiven, or of being at peace. But God came looking for me. By God's mercy, my parents sent me to a Sunday school where the Bible was clearly taught, and through His word, God revealed the truth, that I was a sinner in need of forgiveness, that Jesus had come to take the penalty I deserved and secure for me forgiveness once for all time, so that I could be certain of being acceptable to God, not because I was worthy, but because Jesus was worthy and He stood in my place. I want all Orthodox people to be exposed to the truth of this gospel, so that God in His mercy might rescue them from judgment, so that they might be a fulfilled Eastern Orthodox believer, one who brings to fruition the baptismal promises that were made over them, that they might renounce Satan and Join the side of Christ. So this podcast is one way in which I am seeking to engage you in this mission. For we will reach more people if we encourage one another. This podcast also complements the course by the same name, Evangelising Eastern Orthodoxy, which you can find at eeo.net.au. It's a free training course which, like the podcast, equips you to understand Orthodox worldview and doctrines to help you effectively communicate the gospel. However, it offers a more systematic and comprehensive overview. Each of the 8 modules feature short video introductions explaining orthodoxy, accompanied by practical evangelistic exercises. These are designed to be run in small groups at church or at home, which, as mentioned, can be found free at eeo.net.au. And finally, we can continue the conversation in our Facebook group called, and this will surprise you, Evangelising Eastern Orthodoxy. Here is the QR code, and I'll also post all these details in the comments. Thanks for listening to Evangelising Eastern Orthodoxy. God willing, there will be a new episode weekly. In the meanwhile, continue to pray for your Orthodox neighbours and friends, and seek to emulate Paul, who declared to the Corinthians, "We plead on Christ's behalf, be reconciled to God. He made the one who did not know sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God."
My